On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks proved one thing in their win against the Pacers. They're not going to try to out-tank teams.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
So, all of them, all five.
I think that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog, Dwight Powell.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen to the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future. Get entered for your first chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Joining me, as always, the post-game prodigy from the Great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What did you see from the Dallas Mavericks this afternoon, Slightly Biased?
28 more? 27 more?
27.
The number?
27
right.
more.
That's what I saw. It's like the jail. It's like the jail cell of just
Put notches.
Yep.
Put notches on. Today's episode, we're talking about one of those notches. The Mavs get a win against the Indiana Pacers, breaking their 10-game losing streak. Congrats to them. Good job. You can no longer put them in the category of longest win streak in Mavs history. That was on the table.
10 is crazy.
We'll talk about Khris Middleton absolutely making a huge impact in this game. We'll talk about Marvin Bagley being significantly better than Daniel Gafford in this game, and if that's a bigger conversation. We'll talk about all kinds of things, but let's start here, Slightly Biased. The one thing that I can take away from this Mavs-Pacers game is coming into this game, there were 22 players on the injury report total. 22. Like 8 players on the Pacers were questionable. A bunch of players on the Mavericks were questionable, probable, doubtful, all that. Going back and forth. Cooper Flagg didn't play in this game. Obviously, you don't have Tyrese Halliburton on the Pacers. The Pacers have been, tanking this whole season. They got fined earlier for tanking for sitting players. Zubac is not going to play a single game for them this season, and that's a big thing. They just traded for him from the Clippers. And going into this game, I wondered, this next stretch of 4 games for the Mavericks that are against these really bad teams, Pacers, Nets, Grizzlies, were they going to do anything in the realm of tanking or doing anything extra? We've seen a bunch of teams do these things. We've seen the Jazz do these things where they play their players, Larry Market and Jaren Jackson Jr., until the fourth quarter, and then they sit them in the fourth quarter to intentionally lose the game. We've seen other teams tank in other ways, where they sit players for the whole game, or they do. There's all kinds of other tactics that you could use. And the Mavericks did not do any of those tactics. Unless sitting Cooper Flagg was the tactic. They played everybody. Jason Kidd played the players that were impactful in the game to close the game out. The Mavs went out and tried to win this game. The Pacers even got 20 made threes on their side, and the Mavs still found a way to win. The Mavs are not going to out-tank teams strategically. They are not going to go out there and do that. They're going to try to win every single game down the stretch, and I think that's just the way it's going to be.
Well, I just don't know what would they do really.
You could have sat PJ, you could have played AJ Johnson a bunch, Miles Kelly. Jason Kidd even mentioned the other day, hey, we're going to try to give those guys a chance. All right, you play those guys the whole fourth. Dwight Powell the whole fourth. You play them the whole fourth. Play Nembhard against his brother, right? That would have been the play. It's all right, you just we're and at the end of the game, what does Jason Kidd say to that? Well, we're prioritizing development. We want to see what we got in these guys. He could say that, and you could do that a bunch to end this season and try to lose some of these games, because you could be in a situation where you're in a tiebreaker with the Pacers. I know that sounds weird, but the Pacers they have an all-star. They have some solid players. They would have had, if they had won this game, they would have been 16 wins. The Mavs would have had 19. That's not too far away. You could have been in a tiebreaker scenario in the lottery standings, but the Mavs decided to just go for it, and they tried to win this game and did.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. It's 3 straight games, 30 minutes for Christie, back-to-back 30 minutes for Middleton, 36, 3 straight games for PJ. So yeah, they are, with the group that they have, they are, for better or worse, going out there and let me just vamp on this. This is the stuff that sucks as a fan, where it's just I don't want this team to win games right now. It's not smart long term.
You feel bad.
I don't want to root for them to lose. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad that I'm watching the game and I'm like, well, nice. PJ decided to turn it around whenever it's time to start losing games. Where was this? I'm not mad at him for playing well. That seems insane. Khris Middleton is here now, and it's oh, okay, I guess this guy's leading us to wins. Okay. I mean, I don't know what am I supposed to do with this? This guy will almost certainly not be on the team next year. So that's where it just sucks as a fan, because it's just, and I was thinking about this morning. This is the third time in the last 4 years that we've been in this spot.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
And not because the team has had no talent, no prospects to look forward to in the future, has had no success. It's because of these weird situations. The one where Jalen Brunson leaves and then they tank for Lively.
I was thinking about that team this morning. I hated that team so much.
Oh, that team was brutal. That was a brutal watch.
Him.
That was a brutal watch. That was when some of the fan base kind of started to turn on Luka. It was that season because you were like, oh man, like this is just.
Like, what are we watching?
He was not having a good time either on that team, and I cannot blame him for it.
No.
The Mavs though, they're just not going. They're not going to tank unless it's the last couple of games. Like they sit guys. They think that they're all right. Well, there's still like, I don't know, 25% left of the season left to go. You know, there's still a ton of time left. And so, but the fact that they didn't
lost 10 straight games.
Well,
like
but they didn't sit guys. They didn't sit guys. And that's the way you tank.
I've seen people upset. It's like they did lose 10. They're not going to lose every game, you know?
No, they're in, but they are as bad as they are, which puts them in this position where we have to talk about strategically making moves, whether you're going to lose on purpose or not.
Yeah.
They got there on themselves by themselves.
They're 7th right now in the tankathon standings, a game and a half up on the Grizzlies, who are losing games on purpose, or at least they don't care if they lose games. How about that? And the Bulls, who are now full-fledged tanking. Jaden Ivey, I mean, what on earth? They traded for Jaden Ivey, and now it's like, yeah, we don't like him at all, actually. He's not going to play, and he sounds like he might retire, like in the way he's talking. So they're 3.5 games ahead of the Bulls. I struggle to imagine that gap getting closed.
That'd be tough.
From what I can understand, landing at the 9th pick or 10th pick in this draft would be terrible. All things considered.
There is like a clear tier. You look at all the draft boards and you're like, there's the Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, AJ DeBonsa top 3 tier. That is a clear top 3 to everybody. Ask any draft person, they all have different number ones. Kingston Flemings and Caleb Wilson are like the next tier of 2 guys. So that's 5. Then you have like the Michael Brown, Nate Ament, Darius Acuff, Keaton Vogler that Isaac loves. That gets you to 9. If you don't like Acuff because he's too small, then it takes it out, and then you're like, all right, now you're looking at LeBaron Philon for Alabama at 10 maybe. People are talking about this Braden Burries guy for Arizona. There's that, but then it's like you're out of the special players. Basically, you're trying to take a chance on a guy like maybe the Kentucky big that hasn't played games. You're like, all right, well maybe he's gonna be special. Maybe the old guy from Michigan. Old guy, he's 24, but yeah,
old grandpa.
The thing about this stretch though is that the Mavs could be in a situation where they get past, like they fall down to 9. They got Brooklyn next, Sacramento, who's still, will Sacramento win a game the rest of the season?
I don't know. You're not catching them like that much is certain.
But they play them is what I'm saying. It's like, are they going to beat them? They probably will. Then Memphis, who you just talked about, the Mavs could win 4 in a row here. They got the first one.
Yeah, we'll see. That'll be interesting. I mean, I guess you could say, guys, they've lost 10 in a row, so I'll give them a little bit of a pass
for winning give them a pass for winning the game.
Yeah, I'll give them a pass.
I just think that it was notable that they didn't make any specific moves to tank. It is an organizational like thing that it didn't come from down. Usually comes from on high, right? It came from the front office of the Utah Jazz, and you could see Will Hardy, the Jazz coach, see his face when he got asked the questions about tanking and playing certain players. Like he looked dead inside because he was given this directive from on high. The directive has not come from on high. If it had, the Mavs' approach to this game would have looked completely different, and I think that's what I take away from this game. The next thing I take away, go ahead.
I was to say, well, who would it come from though?
Dumont. It would have to come from ownership.
Does he know tanking is a thing? I mean,
maybe not. He's listened to the show, so he at least knows it's a concept.
Yeah.
But it would have come from him, or could Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi, the co-interim GMs, could they make a call like that? I don't know if Jason Kidd would listen to that, right? Like, Jason Kidd probably has more say than they do in team decisions right now.
Could they view their job interview being like, yeah, we wanted Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones, please go out and get us some wins so we can be like, see, we wanted that guy.
Well, they do have to back up any move that they make right now.
Right. Tyus Jones. Wow, what a home run.
So The other thing I saw from this game, though, Khris Middleton, like you said, may not be on the team next year, but still really impactful. Closed this game out, was really good for the Mavericks. What's he got? We'll talk about that more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks daily fantasy made easy. I love going on Prize Picks because I can use all kinds of different ways to watch sports and to see, watch all kinds of different games at once. You can pay attention to all kinds of different things. Prize Picks is giving you $50 in lineups instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You can make every dunk, every dime, every board that much more exciting. Think about it. There may be a lot of things to watch in these Mavericks games, but you could watch some of these. I could just go here and pick the next couple of games coming up. Desmond Bane, 18.5 points. I'm going to go more on that. Karl-Anthony Towns, 20.5 points. I'm going to go less on that. Isaac Okoro. Why is Isaac Okoro the third person I see on this Prize Picks? I'm not a big fan of that. Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn. Paolo Banchero, 0.5 dunks. Let me go with it. Paolo Banchero is going to get a dunk. You can play that lineup. Put down $5 on that. Put down $20 on that lineup. I can win 120 if I win that one. Download Prize Picks today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. If you want to skip the ads without having to hit anything, you can get ad-free episodes of this show on the Locked On Mavericks Everydayers Club. You get also access to our Discord where we're talking all the time, and it's a good community of Mavericks fans in there. A bunch of people in the Discord talking all the time. Subscribe, lockedonmavericks.supercast.com. $5 a month, $50 a year, and you can get ad-free episodes of the show, access to the Discord, and help support the show. All right, Slightly, let's talk about this game. Mavs do get the win. We were wondering, and it was close. And it was honestly, for a tank-off game, it was pretty entertaining of a game. They were back and forth the whole time. The largest lead was 11 for the Mavericks, right? It was not one of those games where the Mavs just blew them out. It was not one where the Pacers had a big lead at any point. The Mavs had to come back. It's not a game that we've seen often from the Mavericks, a close game all the way through. Yeah. But it did end with Khris Middleton, 9 points in the fourth quarter, just bucket after bucket, scoring in isolation, scoring on jumpers. And then the Pacers stayed connected because they hit 23s. They kept hitting threes. I was laughing in the fourth quarter because it was 6:20 left. Middleton, turnaround fade. Indiana hits their 18th three. Middleton, ISO jumper. Pacers hit their 19th three. It's Middleton catch and shoot 3-point, then Pacers hit their 20th three. It's just back and forth going between these two teams. All right, can the threes catch up to the Mavericks? And the Pacers never did catch up to them. And Khris Middleton, man, closed it out, creating his own shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's been real solid after this trade, and that's why I'm a little surprised. And I what's the date? March 1st, right? That's the date where you can get bought out.
Yeah, I think so.
I am a little surprised that somebody, maybe his representatives, aren't pushing for, hey, we can obviously still contribute at a high level. He's 34 years old, 35 years old. Let's get him on a team that can compete and contend and at this stage of his career. But yeah, I mean, he's never been an uber athlete or anything like that, right? Always been a really talented shot maker and a very underrated playmaker his entire career. And I think you're really seeing that. You look at some of these closing lineups for the Mavs, and it's kind of the typical stuff where you're basically just replacing Khris Middleton, Cooper Flagg's spot with Khris Middleton. So we talk about the point Coop thing. The Mavericks had lineups and they closed the game without a traditional point guard out on the floor. A lot of that burden was on Khris Middleton. So yeah, he's a good player. I'm interested to see how the next week shapes out because I'm not entirely convinced that he won't get bought out, but we'll see.
How upset would certain Mavericks fans be? The ones that really want the Mavs to tank, really love this draft. Khris Middleton came in here, played for 10 games, 5 games, ruined one of the games, to tank, ruined the tank in one of the games and just left.
I don't know. I mean, again, they're not going to lose every single game, and they might win every single game of these next 4.
They might.
They really might. Unless there's some egregious stuff.
It is weird though that the Mavs hadn't won a game since they made that Anthony Davis trade. They were in the middle of this.
Yeah,
they're in the middle of this losing streak when that.
10 is crazy. That's 1/8 of the season.
It was a month. They on the broadcast they said it had been 1 entire month since the Mavericks had won a game.
Well, I was shocked they said on the broadcast after the first quarter it was the first time in well over a month that they led a game after the first quarter. I was like, wow.
No, I'm not surprised by that in any way. We've seen we've seen that game a million times with the Mavs.
Yeah, that's true. But even in games you lose, it's like, oh, we're up 2 at the end of the first. We hit 7 threes.
They just keep getting they kept getting blitzed in that first quarter though.
Yeah, I know.
Brutal. But yeah, Khris Middleton, 25 points on 15 shots, 7 boards, 7 assists, like you said. Like made some really good passes, connected with some guys. Yeah. I think he should get some time on one of these teams. Like one of these teams, there's a couple teams that he can't go to because he's making too much money. Like I hate that rule, but that's another one of the second apron rules. But a team that just needs like a offensive punch, like off the bench.
I've seen some people, want
Rockets,
maybe
Lakers.
The idea of him coming back next year. I get. I just don't get why you would.
Why he would?
Right. Yeah. If you're 35 years old, like,
yeah. I mean, he obviously wants to play, right? That's why they didn't talk about buying him out. Maybe he thinks he needs to prove that he can play over this next stretch and then go to to a team in the buyout or something. But yeah, I mean, if the Khris Klay duo next year, is that something you want sustainably coming off your bench? Like, is that a duo you want to lean into?
I mean, if Khris Middleton was making $5 million or whatever next year, and it's like, yeah, I'll stay in Dallas. I was like, okay, that's all right. That's fine with me. But I don't get why he would want to if he's making that little.
Yeah, and they have his bird rights, so they can sign him. And so that's
Bagley is the juicy one for me.
This is the one, Marvin Bagley. He had a really good game. 12 points, 11 boards, and 5 of 9 from the field. On the broadcast, he said a couple times, Jason Kidd wants him to take 2 perimeter shots a game. That was like an interesting directive.
Well, he hit a 3. What was that, last game or 2 games ago?
He hit a 3 last game. He did not take one this game, which is why I brought that up. No turnovers, no fouls either from Marvin Bagley. 26 minutes and closed the game over Daniel Gafford. And it was clear in this game how much he outplayed Daniel Gafford. And to me, I don't think Marvin Bagley is a starting center. Like, I don't think we're having that conversation. Maybe to end this season because of how up and down Gafford's play has been, mostly down and then mostly hobbled because of injury. But I think that maybe a starting center conversation may need to happen soon.
I mean, my big thing is with the new front office, whoever it ends up being, if it's these guys, one of these guys elevated or whatever, that'll be a very important first step for me is what are they going to do with Bagley? Because if I were the GM, I see an easy situation, assuming Bagley's not going to be making, a ton of money,
right?
Because he is a free agent at the end of the year. And I can't imagine he would make a ton of money, but I do see a pathway to extend him on a good number. $7 million a year. I mean, something like that. $5 million a year. I don't know what it is. He's making $2 million this year. He's overplaying that contract by a lot. Trading away a guy like Gafford and getting capital back, value back, and running it back with Bagley as your backup center next year. You're obviously banking a lot on Lively's health, but that's what a smart front office would do, in my opinion.
Well, it's just so much more palatable to have a backup center making like the $5-7 million than 17 that Gafford is going to make next year, right? Like,
and especially considering just the reality, the play that we've gotten from Gafford this year has not been up to par.
No, it's been bad.
And it's not necessarily all his fault, but it's just the reality.
It could be because of an ankle injury, but they keep playing him. They don't hold him out and let him, get healthy. And so I can only evaluate what I've seen, right? Like you can only look at what you see and say, all right, this is what it is. It's just not been good.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a +10 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, single game plus minus can be wonky.
I set you up for that. He kept trying to go at Jay Huff tonight, and he kept failing.
Jay Huff was brutally bad.
but Gafford couldn't score on him. So,
how many wide open threes did Jay Huff miss?
The first half, the Mavs were selling out so hard. Gafford did it, I think, twice. They just sold out. Like it was like Steph Curry was taking that shot, and they're like, I got to throw my entire body at this. And I was like, hold on. And then he was over 6.
It's funny. I mean, wow. The Pacers, everybody on their team shot at least 2 threes.
Yes.
And
almost everybody shot 4.
Pretty much everyone shot 4 threes. Wow.
Siakam took 3, and the guy that started Cam Jones took 2, and he made both of them.
Yeah, and everyone else shot 4.
Micah Potter and Jay Huff
bigs combined to go 0 of 10.
Yeah, their bigs missed their threes. They're not going to get any from Zubats when he starts playing for them. So.
No, well, I mean, assuming he's probably not going to play at all this year. But if he were to play this year, they might be like, Zubats, shoot like 5. He's like, I've never done that. They're like, just do it.
Shoot them with which hand?
He's like, so I do a hook shot from all the way? No, just a jump shot.
Coming up, let's talk about PJ Washington. He had a good game. What do we think about him and his future with the Mavs coming up? Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, ticket, the whole experience on FanDuel. So what's an NBA future? You can go check out. They have futures all over the place. They have the Mavs hit 30 wins. No, 35. No, they took them all off the Mavs. Awards are one that's a future. Cooper Flagg minus 500 to win Rookie of the Year. Con Knibble plus 340. That gap is closing quick there. You can go check that one out and more. Again, put down use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with Fantasy, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Also brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. You're not having to chat GPT a whole bunch of stuff and try to figure out, all right, what does this mean? All that. I hate doing that because you're like, I don't even know if I can trust what I'm getting. But you can trust somebody from TurboTax because they are the local expert to meet with you in person or online. You can do either one of them. They handle everything. W-2, self-employed forms, and work to get you every deduction. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. TurboTax.com/local.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, so we're talking about the Mavs win against the Indiana Pacers. First time we've done a win in the last 10 tries.
I actually couldn't tell you the team they beat. I'm trying to
tonight.
Think. No. The last win. I honestly,
I know what it was.
Was it the Rockets?
No.
I honestly have no idea.
It was kind of a weird win. They're all weird wins, I guess, now.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Steph Curry, 38 points.
Warriors?
The Warriors. Mavs beat the Warriors.
Jonathan
Kuminga had 10 points early and then went out with an injury.
Oh yeah.
Remember
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, Anthony Melton had 22 off the bench for him. Naji had 30 and hit 2 threes. That was a huge game.
Yep.
Flagg had 21 and 11 boards. Yeah, that's the last time Mavs going to win, but the Mavs going to win this time. PJ Washington, 23 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, a steal, a block, only 1 turnover. It was a weird inbounds pass that didn't seem like it was 100% his fault. 36 minutes, led the team, and we've been waiting for PJ Washington to kind of just bounce back or round back into form or look like himself. And I don't know, this game was one where all right, that's PJ. The floater was hitting, he was getting into the lane. He had that play on Jay Huff where he just barreled into his chest in transition and got the floater, which he was doing at the beginning of the season a lot. He just kind of looked more like PJ Washington to me.
Yeah, and I mean, how many rebounds did he have tonight?
9.
Okay, so nearly back-to-back double-doubles for him. Yeah, It's good to see him. I mean, that would be a nice thing to close out the season, obviously, when you are making an effort or at least hoping the team, strategizes in a way to where maybe you're losing some games to, better your draft position as much as possible. But PJ, because he's under contract, and I do think he factors in, again, I hate to do this, but it's stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about it all offseason. If I were the GM, I'd trade Gafford in the summer 100%. It just doesn't make sense with this roster construction to have a center like that under contract. But PJ is somebody who I think could fit in. So over the last couple months of the season, seeing him sort of bounce back in a way, we were like, okay, there's the PJ that we paid. There's a PJ that we know is, one of the better role players in the league. So him showing signs of that at the end of the year, because it has been a really weird year for him with injuries and off the court stuff and the roster construction just not being anywhere near good for a guy like that. Probably the worst type of roster construction you could have for a guy like PJ and Gafford, to be completely fair. But
For sure.
It would be nice to see him sort of just turn it around.
Yeah, this is 5 games in a row with double-digit points, 5 games in a row with hitting a 3 in this, 5 games in a row with at least 5 rebounds. Like, it's just again and again. He's had some pretty good games here over this stretch, and he's had such a weird season. He got injured in warm-up, stepping on a ball. Like, that just doesn't happen.
I know.
Doesn't happen very often. Still one of the weirdest injuries of this season. But PJ Washington having a good game, I thought was notable for him. 6 of 8 from the free throw line. And defensively was doing some stuff.
Yeah, no, he had a good game, and see if they build off that.
We'll see if they build. Max Christie returned, 16 points, 4 assists, hit 2
What was
threes.
his injury in the Timberwolves game? I mean, what happened there?
Great question. Great question. Max Christie's injury. It's just
Coming off the All-Star break, out one game.
ankle. They just said ankle.
Okay.
Could have been another tank one over
I
there.
was about to say, was that a tank move? Were they like, we might beat the Timberwolves? Maybe their idea was we might beat the Timberwolves, guys, and they almost did.
Well,
Like,
they should have sat him for the Pacers game instead of the Timberwolves.
Well, maybe they thought there's no way we're going to lose to this Pacers team, so might as well just play.
We'll just play everybody. But I thought Max. The thing about Max in this game, I sent this to the text line people after the game. You could just tell that the coaching staff has looked at him and said, do other things, expand your game, try stuff, try more drives into the paint, try drives and kicks, try so passes. He had the 4 assists. I thought he tried some stuff. They were expand your game in any way at the end of the season, and he's taking it.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we saw a little bit more threes, but he had a couple threes that I like, just the dribble pull-ups that are encouraging shots. And yeah, I definitely does feel like that happened. And that's what we were talking about early in the season. It was Christie should be shooting more. He should be taking more shots. And especially with the team where it's at now, when Coop's out, the reality is you're watching these guys and it's I don't know how many of these dudes will be here next year. I don't know how many of these dudes even factor into the long-term plans of this team. The one guy who you could almost certainly pencil in is Christie. So yeah, watching him and seeing if he can tap into something else is one of the reasons to watch and monitor the situation.
Pacers hit 9 more threes than the Mavericks. The Mavs got 5 more free throws made, and so that difference is not enough. You're like, all right, how did the Mavs actually get this win? Mavs had 64 points in the paint. Pacers only had 48. That was a big difference, and that was kind of the only big difference. The Mavs were just scoring in the paint. They were getting buckets. Pacers didn't have a lot of rim protection in there. They couldn't really stop guys on the perimeter. The Mavs could get into the lane. And I thought that was the difference, how the Mavs actually got this win. Yeah, nobody was stopping anybody, right?
It was not a lot of defense being played. It was a crazy breakneck pace, which you don't really see all that much, from this team. I guess with this new iteration, it does kind of feel like, and we've been talking about this for a while now, but now with AD gone and stuff like that, the defense has just not been very good. As of late, they haven't been really good at anything. They lost 10 straight games. But yeah, the pace was really good in this game. And like you said, it was the glass where they did really well, offensive rebounding and in the paint, help make up the gap from the 3-point barrage.
107 possessions for each team on this one.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we know the Pacers play with some pace, but no pun intended. I mean, 20 of 42 from 3. You get outscored from the 3-point line by 27 points. That's an impressive win.
It kind of doesn't even make sense to me.
It is. I mean, they made 27 2-pointers. You made 40. That's it. You
right.
You cleaned up in your opportunities in the paint and inside the 3-point line where they didn't.
It's just had 37 assists in this game.
Yeah. They moved the ball. 37 assists on 47 makes.
And all-star Pascal Siakam couldn't close, but Money Middleton got it done.
Yeah.
There's no part of you that just enjoyed seeing Middleton.
No, he's good, man. It is weird seeing Khris Middleton out there with a Mavs jersey. It is bizarre because it's
I saw All Things Mavs post this. It was imagine telling somebody in 2018 when you have all-star Kyrie Irving, coming off of that NBA Finals a couple years before, all-star Khris Middleton, all-star and all-defensive Klay Thompson, and number 2 overall pick Marvin Bagley, all going to be on the same team.
I would say 2026. I'd be like, oh yeah, they're all grandpaps and old. Back then, though, yeah, that'd have been sick.
Yeah, back then you'd been like, what? How did that even happen? They're all completely different corners of the NBA universe than the Mavs
Yeah, I mean, Bagley is going to be one of the most interesting guys
in the offseason.
Because I'd love to bring him. I think he is a good and underappreciated player.
It's funny now, the center situation. Lively, Gafford, Bagley, Dwight Powell, Musa Cisse. You're like, okay, all interesting in their own ways. All like...
I don't think you. So if I were the GM, we don't have a center situation. I would draft a big. If the draft just fell a certain way and I loved a guy at 8, I would draft a big if I liked him at 8.
That's the thing, is that you don't have nobody that you're completely married to. Yeah. Lively, you should be, but because he's injured all the time,
you just can't. You can't pencil him in.
You can't. So you can pencil him in. You just can't pen him in.
Right. That's right.
Can't be permanent marker.
The true. I wish.
And Gafford is making the most money out of all of them, which is weird too, because you're like, all right, well, he fits the least with any of the players, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, and he needs a very specific guard, and
he would have been good on the Pacers team. Like
yeah.
With Halliburton.
He's perfect big for Luka.
With Halliburton, with James Harden, with Luka, with these guys that do that stuff, he'd be amazing. He's amazing with them.
And unfortunately, the guards the Mavs have now, who are like, yeah, I can run a pick and roll and throw a lob, are just not very good players.
Well, Nembhard's just not playing. They're saving. It seems like they're saving the Nembhard and Musa games. I don't know why they're saving the Miles Kelly games, but they are.
Yeah, getting them ready. It's gonna be a big march for those guys.
I guess so. Well, we're just waiting until they make those.
So Tyus Jones, 11 minutes, like that. We're already just conceding that one.
Well, we saw him start the last game, and then you didn't care for how he played. And so I was like, all right, well, 11 minutes, it is what it is.
So did they just, I mean, he was pretty good in that game against Minnesota, but is this just like, yeah, whatever. If you're playing good, well, they are just.
I mean, it's not like they lost anything they didn't lose anything on offense.
Yeah, I think, obviously Kyrie coming back, but they need to find more permanent. I don't want to go into next season. We're still doing this guard carousel merry-go-round where it's just one game it's this guy, the next game it's this guy. You have no clue who it's going to be.
B-Will, 15.7 assists off the bench.
He was good. He was really good tonight.
It was pretty good. Hit a 3.
Yeah.
There you go.
B-Will, man.
That's our thoughts on the Mavs win against the Pacers. Go check out Slightly Biased's YouTube channel. Great stuff happening all the time over there. We'll have more on this very channel. Subscribe wherever you're listening, watching this. Follow us, Locked On Mavs, on every social media platform. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
Hey, only 7.5 back of the play-in.